Scott McTominay is finally standing tall just 2 years after fearing his career could be compromised completely by a lack of inches. The Manchester United midfielder is developing into a man of stature, on and off the park. McTominay has just completed a breakthrough season at Old Trafford in which Jose Mourinho frequently overlooked £85 million signing Paul Pogba in favour of the kid who came from nowhere. Off the park, his maturity and composure shine through, and even being mobbed by school kids at the plush public school playing fields Scotland are using as a training facility here in Lima ahead of tomorrow night's friendly against Peru refuses to turn his head. No autograph request was refused, no plea for a selfie was ignored by a 21-year-old who suffered enough trying to make the grade in the pro ranks without ever taking its trappings for granted. Scott McTominay in training watched by Scotland boss Alex McLeish, Image, SNS. In his first major interview, McTominay said, "Manchester United is a massive organisation and it's the same with Scotland. People are also interested in me because I am a United player, but I just want to keep working hard. That is the most important thing for me right now." His cool-headed approach has been reflected in his influential displays in the heart of the United midfield, where he guards possession as jealously as his development in the sport. Born in Lancaster to Scottish father Frank, McTominay was first spotted as an 8-year-old by United and progressed through their academy system until his development stalled in his mid-teens. His friends and teammates shot up like weeds in the sun, but he remained at 5 feet 6 inches until an astonishing growth spurt saw him gain 10 inches in height in little more than a year from 2015. He said, "Over the past 4 years I've missed a lot of games." Jose Mourinho with Scott McTominay, Image, Getty. From age 16 to 19 I wasn't in a state to compete with men. I was smaller and shorter. My body was all over the place, but as I got older I started to adapt. Over the past 2 years I have played centre midfield and turned out in a lot of matches. I've progressed at a rate with which I'm happy. I'm not a perfectionist, but I want to keep improving. You have to be confident in your own ability. From playing with my primary school team to Manchester United, I have had to be confident to make an impression on people. I also have really good friends and a tight network group who got me through those bad times. Now things are looking up and it is good for those who have been there for me through the good and bad. I'm only 21. I want to keep going. I would go the whole year playing if I could, but you need a break. Scott McTominay in action for Scotland, Image, SNS Group. Kenny McLean buzzing for Aberdeen pal Graham Shinnie after Scotland call-up. "I had a run at club level at the end of the season and I need to take that into the international matches. I just want to keep working hard and doing well. There is big pressure playing for United, but it makes you grow up quicker. I am more of a man than I was this time last year." McTominay made his first team debut for United a year ago this month, a late cameo in a 2-0 defeat at Arsenal, and made his first start for the club in a 2-0 win over Crystal Palace on the last day of the campaign. This season his development was enhanced by 4 appearances in the Champions League and 13 in the Premier League, and he was also on the bench for the FA Cup final defeat by Chelsea. His decision to play for Scotland, rather than the country of his birth, also saw him make his debut at senior international level for the recent friendly against Costa Rica, and McTominay will feature heavily in the next 2 games against Peru and Mexico. Costa Rica's Marco Arena in action with Scotland's Scott McTominay, Image, Reuters. Russell Shane, he added, "There has always been pressure on me, through Manchester United's academy from under-16s to under-21s, and the pressure is even bigger going into the first team. Thousands of people watch you in every match, but as I've got older I've grown better with dealing with it. I tend not to think about it as much as some other boys might. Everyone has been fine with my decision to play for Scotland. I am not the sort of person who wants to speak about everything. I like to keep my head down and to prove myself, first and foremost. The more chances I get, the more I hope I can impress. McTominay snubbed England despite being courted by boss Gareth Southgate, and under FIFA guidelines could, theoretically, change his mind before he makes his first competitive appearance for Scotland. But McTominay said, "Change my mind? No chance. You can dismiss that one. It was an easy decision for me to play for Scotland and make my granddad so proud. It was never a decision in my eyes. I was desperate to turn out for Scotland. I just want to make all my family in Helensburgh proud." Scotland's Scott McTominay shakes hands with manager Alex McLeish against Costa Rica. Image, Reuters. Lee Smith. "It's where my dad was brought up, and I used to come up every New Year to see my aunties, uncles, grandparents and everyone else who lives there. It's a place I still hold dear in my heart." Old Trafford boss Mourinho told him to follow his heart when it came to his international football. Sir Alex Ferguson told him with a smile to follow the M6 until it met the M74 or else. McTominay added, "My manager came up to Hampton for the game against Costa Rica and was delighted to see one of his boys make his international debut. He is a top manager and the things he has done for me this season have been incredible. I want to thank him. I didn't want to say it on TV or interviews, but it is important he knows I am grateful for the chances he has given me and we can keep progressing into next season." Scott McTominay in action against Brighton. Image, Getty. "I was in and around the Cliff training ground as a kid, and Sir Alex also spoke to my dad. The Munich memorial service recently, he also pulled me aside and said, 'Make sure you play for Scotland. Jose and Sir Alex give you such confidence.'" McTominay is in line for his second cap against Peru, "Our first match against the South Americans since a 1-1 draw in a friendly at Hampton in 1979. And he added, "It is such an honor to be called up again. I am a young lad. I want to keep going. I don't want to stop. Everyone is so hungry to play. We are in exciting times. No, couldn't care less about them."